Greetings, Internet, and welcome to another episode of My Cool Friends. We go live every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If this is your first time joining us, first of all, hello. So nice to have you. And if you can catch all of our previous episodes in our backlog over at our YouTube channel, The Platinum Mastermind with Ben Ebig. This week we have a very special solo episode because we're going to be talking about the publishing strategies that Disney and specifically Disney Plus has been doing with their Marvel shows. And why are we talking about this? Because I've really been enjoying Loki, and so we're having a very nerdy episode, and I welcome you all into this very nerdy episode. So why are we talking about this? Specifically, I want to talk, by the way, small spoiler warning. If you're not caught up with all these shows, then I apologize. We might be going into story bits, but mainly we're going into creative writing bits into this conversation is where I plan on taking it. So what I've noticed from at the time of making this video, we're like 5 episodes into Loki, and they've already made the Captain America series and the Wanda series. And from like my informal survey, it does seem like there have not been a lot of people who were grabbed by the Captain America series, but a lot of people got into the Wanda series later on in its publishing. And it seems like, from my perspective, that the first 2 series, compared to Loki right now, they were written in a way that people thought that they were going to be binged. Maybe the writers in the beginning of the production, when they were making these shows, they thought, oh, people are going to binge watch these, because up until Disney Plus came into the stage, that's kind of what everyone was doing. That's what Netflix always did. And they were some of the first people to have like digital shows, and they just always released the entire season to everyone. But that's not what Disney did. They released it little by little. And those first couple of episodes of WandaVision, they weren't exactly things that left off on a big hook. They weren't something that you would like generally see on cable. They were something that you would traditionally see on a streaming platform. And so that didn't quite get a big retention. Whereas Loki, now that this series is kicking off, it has quite the opposite effect. It's written in a way that every single episode is ending with strong hooks, and it's picking up on those strong hooks in a way that people are coming back more. It's written with a specific intention of both merging the modern form of digital with hey, we want people to tweet about this. We want people to come back and stay subscribed to this service. But also a little bit of the old style as well of having a weekly event, of still having a hook to come back every single week. And what I had this recent discussion too about this topic is that one thing that we've been enjoying that we really want to avoid is the always classic monster of the week. You have your main characters and they're doing something, and then they get into a situation that is out of you almost have a hero's journey that takes place in one episode. Maybe they have some situation that they get into, but then by the end of the 30-minute episode, they are then completely out. They've completely gone through that hero's journey. And I think the problem with that is if you have that consistently every single episode for 30 minutes or an hour time, then you're not actually, it's hard to invest in those characters because they might be constantly learning the same things over and over again. Whereas the uniqueness of Marvel, I actually heard his name's coming to George R.R. Martin, the guy who writes Game of Thrones. He recently spoke about why he likes Marvel more, why he got attached to Marvel, and what inspiration he drove from Marvel as opposed to DC. And it was this fact right here that he really noticed over time that, like, Superman, like, in one comic, he would get into a fight with a villain, and then he would have to save Lois, and then by the end of that comic, things would go back to normal. Whereas a lot of Marvel stories, they don't necessarily have this entire hero's journey in one single comic book arc. You'll notice that people will often, like, have their entire arcs over possibly, like, multiple movies or multiple stories. And that's what I'm noticing is going on here, is that they're having a great merging of leaving off on a hook for you, but at the same time, their hero's journey is taking place over multiple episodes. And I think this is, like, it's incredibly difficult but beautiful when it's fully executed. And that's something that we need to do for our own videos, is, like, what can we do to, like, bring people along for our own stories, and at the same time, like, bring, like, because it's about bringing other people along for the journey. And I think it's not just about, like, always ourselves, but creating these pieces of art that people can be along the ride for. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Like, I'd love to know, like, your guys' thoughts down, like, in whatever comment section you are over on social media, whether it be the Facebook groups or the YouTube channel. What do you guys think of both of these series right now, like the two that have passed and Loki that is going on right now? Like, what do you think of these story arcs that are going on right now, and how is it drawing you back in every single week to watch? Because that's something that I think about, like, what's bringing me back and what's making me choose to spend my time on a particular show. And so that's something that I want to close out to all of you guys, like, what's having us make the choice to spend our time here, and how can we reflect on that to improve our own content and our own selves. As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. And remember, my friends, to stay safe and stay healthy.